All right. So what do high rent and homelessness in the Bay Area have in common? They are both caused by a housing shortage. This is a new project. I'm Claire, and I'm the lead on the Science of Housing project. This is a continuation of some of the work that was done in the Housing Pipeline Report. You heard from Yuri earlier from Statecraft, and that was a project that came out of that, or a company that came out of that. So in the last 5 years in the Bay Area, 400,000 new jobs were created, and only 60,000 new permits were issued. And of those, only some percentage housing have been built. And that's only 6.6. There are 6.6 people for every single unit that is planned to be built and hasn't yet been built necessarily, which is not enough to meet the market. So the question now is, what do we do about this housing crisis? We know this is the problem, and we know that policymakers and advocacy organizations and citizens want these things to change. So this project is focused on looking at how that change happens and the underlying facts that we need to understand how that works. So this project primarily focuses on predicting the housing supply that will be on the market in the future, given new policy that's being proposed. So the two project goals are understanding these facts. So what are the basic facts of the trends of the housing pipeline over time? And how do we form predictions of how that policy might impact regional housing and pipeline, which you can imagine depends on some economic assumptions and some kind of like econometric dimensions as well. And in the last year alone, there were about 130 policy measures that were introduced at the state level to deal with the housing crisis. And we don't necessarily know, as a public and on the journalist side, whether those policies all work together and how they will impact the market. So we know this is an issue, and we know that we're trying to solve it, but we don't necessarily know what that all adds up to. So if we're thinking about how these different initiatives might change the market, how do we pick what we choose, what we support as citizens? How do we know who we support, who's leading that policy? So we are working with a variety of stakeholders, and of course, we're part of the data science group, so we're using data science as our primary tool here. And we are nonpartisan. We're not affiliated with any of our stakeholders. We are a Code for America group, volunteer group, and we've been in touch with a number of people in all of these categories, all very excited about being able to model this out more extensively and learn more about the facts underlying, and not just think about the policy and the politics behind how we move the housing market forward. So we want to spend more time on the most promising strategies, and that's really the focus of this project. So these are some of the questions that we're starting with, such as how much housing could be built if a bill proposed by Scott Weiner in the state Senate, called SB 827, which basically would allow a half-mile radius around public transit to be dezoned and for that type of environment to flourish in terms of building. How much do we expect to be built? Do we think that would, that every single property would turn over? Do we not? What kind of assumptions can we build around that? How do we model it? And these are just a couple of the questions that we're going to get started with. But as you can imagine, getting to these more predictive questions requires us to build on the work that was done previously in this project, which focused on working with the planning department and understanding their data better. So just a plug, we're getting started. Please join the team if you're a data scientist or you're someone who wants to write about this or do research, wants to edit our blog posts and the way that we share the work that we do. I also, as the product manager of the team, am responsible for working with the stakeholders to find some of the work that's done, collaborating with the team to think about how we solve problems and how we answer questions. And I would love for someone who wants to learn how to do product management to work with me and develop this work and really build a portfolio. So I think that's a great opportunity. So I hope this piqued your interest. And if you have any questions, And if you would like to talk to me and help solve the housing crisis, or at least understand it better and help our policymakers solve it, please come talk to me.
Awesome. Thanks. I think we have, again, time for a couple of questions. Do you have any? And again, I know it's late. Thanks for everyone for bearing with us.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, let's give Claire another round of applause.